Can you believe it? Can you believe what somebody said to me? Man. After working 15 plus years in the health and fitness industry as a fitness trainer and nutritional coach, working with countless clients, helping them to lose weight, to gain muscle, and they said that to me, I can't even believe it. And on top of that, I competed for years as an all-natural bodybuilder and even earned my pro card. But I guess none of that even matters because I am being irresponsible for telling people that they don't need a gym to get in shape. Yep, that's basically what they said. Yeah. Now, I've never said that there are absolutely no benefits at all to going to the gym. You could benefit from going to the gym, definitely. And some people really need to go to the gym to be in the atmosphere, to do the things that they need to do to get moving and to get some resistance training in. Some people really need that. However, what I have said, and I'll continue to say, is you can get just as an effective workout on a homestead, if not more, doing the things that need to be done running and operating a homestead. And on top of that, you can actually accomplish something tangible that you can see at the end of the day. Because when you're at the gym and you're just pushing weights around, yes, those muscles are getting worked out, but when you leave the gym, what do you have to show for that effort? Yes, your body feels good and you get the benefits from the exercise, but there's nothing tangible. But here on the homestead, like splitting wood, for example, I'm gonna get a good workout in, but then I'm gonna have split wood that I can either cook with or heat my home with. So I'm getting double the benefits. And splitting wood, for example, you can burn anywhere from 350 to 500 plus calories per hour splitting wood. And at the gym, you could be in a spin class on that bike and you could just be going at it and you could burn the same amount of calories. So you get the same amount of workout, the same amount of calories burned, but then you have something, I'll have something tangible at the end of the day to say, hey, I felt good, muscles got worked, but I also have split wood. All right, let's see. And for those going to the gym, it takes like 30 minutes to an hour to get dressed, travel to the gym, and then you're at the gym for about an hour or two. Probably because it took a little bit longer than you wanted it to because you were chatting with the front desk staff and you were chatting with some of your good old friends at the gym. And then you gotta shower up and travel back home, which is another 30 minutes to an hour. So you spent like 3 to 4 hours of trying to get exercise in. And then when I think of that, I'm like, in 3 to 4 hours, the things that I could accomplish here on my homestead, that time is precious, especially if you're working a full-time job off the homestead and you're trying to build your homestead or a business on the side. That time is precious, so you have to learn to maximize it and be super efficient. So I'm thinking, for the next 3 hours or so, let's do my chores and a project of the day like we typically do. And that project will be splitting wood and moving some mulch. And let's just kind of do a little comparison at the end to see which one was more effective. My workout and chores that I do here, or time that I would have been able to utilize at the gym. Let's see. So that's a little past 30 minutes into it, maybe 35 or 40 minutes or so. I haven't officially looked at the time, but that's about there. And that's the wood that I have split so far. Now I could easily use a hydraulic wood splitter, log splitter, to do this wood, but then I wouldn't get my exercise in. And if I didn't get my exercise in, that means I'd have to go to the gym and then do an exercise like the sledgehammer on the tire. I used to train clients and we would just bang away at the tire. I can't help but think of all of that wasted energy if instead of banging away on that tire, if they would have been splitting some wood, how much firewood we would have. Man, that would have been neat. And if you really want to make this workout even more intense, well, you can always add exercises in between what you're doing, like jumping jacks, burpees, and push-ups. And probably only a personal trainer would come up with something like this, but you could also work your balance, because that's very important. I'm doing things on one leg. And what is exercise really? Exercise is just movement. A couple types of movement: resistance, range of motion / flexibility, and cardio. All of which can be achieved through various methods. All right, so the first hour of my free workout is complete. And that brings another thing to mind. Another tip is that not everyone can afford a gym membership or have access to one. I even think of during COVID when the gyms were closed. So does it when they're closed or you don't have access to a gym, does that mean you just no exercise, no gymmy, no workouty? No. And it was actually only during affluent times or in affluent societies did they really have designated places of exercise. And I think back to the Roman Greco periods when they had a lot of leisure time and they weren't really physically active as far as having to work in the fields and do the different things that they had to do. So they had to do something. They were like, well, we need to get some kind of exercise in. Let's create these places that we can work out. And then they got into all the other kind of crazy stuff, which also is a pattern and cycles that tends to happen with societies, but it doesn't have to be that way. Think of all these other countries and different time periods in history where they did physical labor and they got their exercise through what they did on a day-to-day basis. And I can't also help but think about the farmers. Every time when we were lifting weights and some of the farmers, they would come in, we know they didn't lift weights, but then they would be so strong. We're like, how are these guys who don't lift weights, how are they so strong? Well, in fact, they actually do lift weights in what they do on a regular basis, and that's how they got what we call farm strong. After splitting wood, it was time to move on to my daily chores. Which includes moving chickens. Here we go. Moving ducks. Moving turkeys and some other chickens. as well as moving some more ducks. And after moving all the animals, I gather up their feeders and head over to fill them up. And along the way, I get some walking in, and sometimes also some walking lunges. I also get some good walking in, which can burn anywhere from 200 to 360 calories per hour. In addition to the feed, I also fill up their waters. And as I'm carrying the buckets of water, I'm also getting farmer's walk exercise in, which can work your traps, your forearms, and your core muscles. So, split wood, then did the farm chores. Next, we're gonna do some shoveling. And I bet you didn't know what kind of workout you can get just from shoveling. A good shoveling for about an hour, you can burn anywhere from 300 all the way up into 670 calories per hour. So I'm gonna see what I can knock out in about an hour's time period. I'm gonna get this pile down, spread it out. With each load, I do like 12 to 15 reps on each side. That way, I work each side of my body equally and don't create any imbalances, things like that. I don't have one muscle side, one little scrawny side. And make sure you work it evenly. It reminds me of the guys at the gym. A lot of them would just work on the upper body and they would rarely do legs, and they'd have like, I call it like rooster syndrome. They'd be like here, these skinny little legs. And that was just a bonus. So with everything I just did, combining it all together, I estimated, just based on average, not the maximum, not the minimum, based on average, that I burned about 1,000 to 1,200 calories during that time. And you compare that with if I would have been just strictly weight training, that would only have been about 250 calories per hour. Or you can compare it to just doing high intensity cardio, which would have been about 500 to 600 calories max per hour. Or the ultra intense CrossFit training could only burn anywhere from 900 to 1,000 calories or so per hour. So not only did I burn more calories in that time period that I was doing, I also got a lot of things accomplished. Got to move my homestead forward and was productive and got my animals fed, and I got a good workout in at the same time. Now I do want to mention, you can't expect to just casually super ultra low intensity go around raking some leaves here and there and just feeding a few animals or planting a few flowers and think you're gonna look like the Incredible Hulk. No, that ain't gonna work. And we become what we train for. And what we train for needs to be complementary to what we need to be in shape for. There's no need to be going around looking like the Incredible Hulk on the homestead. I learned that the hard way when I was doing the bodybuilding and I was really trying to get big and buffer and more muscle mass. I noticed when I was trying to trim the hedges that I couldn't. It's like my arms were too heavy to hold up. So we need to be mindful of that to make sure that your training program, your exercise, your movement program is complementary to what you need to be in shape for. And I also want to mention that it's not all about calories either. It's about what I mentioned earlier, making sure you get a balance of resistance training, flexibility, and cardio. I guess you can add stability into that too, since I mentioned that earlier. And not too long ago, Josiah and I were working on strength together. It's like, reminds me of the strongman competitions where we were just picking up rocks and moving them. Woo! That's it. My boy can do anything.
That's a fact.
Use those legs. Squat down. Get that booty down. Get that bottom down. There you go. There you go. Show them you can do it. You know what they say? A family that works together stays together. So I guess we work out together, farm together, play together. We just have fun, right? Get the job done. Show them those muscles. Let's see those muscles. Look at this boy's muscle. Look at that muscle. Man, you just keep watering, this is gonna keep growing. That felt good, lifting with my son. Yeah. But I wanna encourage each of you to strive to be more intentional in getting more exercise in and moving more in the day-to-day things that you are doing. So that way you can be a fitter version of yourself. Not for vanity, but so that way you can be in better shape to serve and help others. Just think about it. See you next time.